Title: The Shadows Beyond Aisles. My late-night shifts at Walmart were never glamorous, but they paid the bills. Little did I know that one fateful night, the familiar aisles would transform into a haunting labyrinth, and I would become the prey of an unseen terror. It all started innocently enough. The usual monotony of restocking shelves and organizing merchandise echoed through the empty megastore. As the fluorescent lights flickered overhead, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Glances over my shoulder revealed nothing, but the oppressive atmosphere clung to the air like a shroud. As the night progressed, the unease evolved into something more sinister. A figure, elusive and indistinct, seemed to trail my every step, always lurking just beyond the edge of my peripheral vision. The stalker played a macabre game, revealing itself only in fleeting glimpses and echoing footsteps. In the break room, I hoped to find solace, but a cold breeze whispered through the quiet space, sending a chill down my spine. The silence was shattered by the sound of my phone buzzing with an incoming call. An unknown number stared back at me, and against my better judgment, I answered. The voice on the other end was distorted, like a sinister melody. "You can't escape me," it hissed, each word a venomous threat that cut through the air. Panic welled up within me as I fumbled to disconnect the call. Returning to the desolate sales floor, the stalker's presence intensified. Merchandise seemed to rearrange itself when my back was turned, and unnatural shadows danced on the walls. The familiar became unfamiliar, and the megastore transformed into a malevolent entity. Over the intercom, a distorted voice mocked me. "I know your every move," it taunted, sending a wave of terror through my veins. Desperation led me to dial 911, and as I whispered the details of my ordeal, the police assured me they were en route. But the stalker wasn't finished. A trail of cryptic messages appeared on the store's digital displays. "Alone in the dark, you're never truly alone," they read. The words echoed through the empty aisles, and I felt the weight of an unseen presence closing in. When the police arrived, the megastore was silent once more. Shelves stood undisturbed, and the aisles seemed innocent, betraying no sign of the night's horrors. They assured me they would investigate, but as I left the store, I couldn't shake the feeling that the stalker lingered in the shadows, patiently waiting for the next opportunity to strike. From that night on, Walmart's aisles became a chilling reminder that darkness can lurk even in the most mundane places, and the line between reality and nightmare can blur into a twisted, inescapable nightmare. Title: Checkout Lane Abduction. Working the evening shift at Walmart was usually uneventful, but one ominous night turned my mundane routine into a harrowing tale of survival. It was close to closing time, and the store was winding down. I was tasked with tidying up the checkout lanes, absent-mindedly humming to myself as I worked. The flickering fluorescent lights cast eerie shadows on the empty aisles. As I reached the last checkout lane, a sudden chill ran down my spine. I felt a pair of eyes boring into the back of my head. Turning around, I spotted a man lingering at the edge of the shadows, his gaze fixed on me. Unease settled in, and my instincts screamed at me to be cautious. Ignoring the unsettling feeling, I continued my duties, glancing at the clock. Only 15 minutes until closing. The man, however, seemed to shadow my every move. I felt his presence lurking, always at the periphery of my vision. As I made my way toward the employee exit, the man drew closer. Panic gripped me when I realized he was following, his footsteps echoing mine in the deserted store. I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my chest. The man called out, his voice low and gravelly. "Wait up, sweetheart, I just want to talk." Fear surged through me, and I darted toward the exit, my steps echoing through the empty store. I reached the door, my trembling hands fumbling with the lock. Just as I managed to swing it open, a cold hand clamped down on my shoulder. I spun around to face the man, his sinister grin sending shivers down my spine. "You're not going anywhere," he sneered, his grip tightening. Instinct kicked in, and I fought back with every ounce of strength. Screaming for help, I wriggled out of his grasp and sprinted toward the parking lot. I could hear his footsteps behind me, the night air thick with menace. I reached my car, fumbling for the keys, and with a surge of adrenaline, I leaped inside and locked the doors. The man stood in the parking lot, his malevolent gaze fixed on me. He disappeared into the shadows, melting away like a nightmare. I called the police, my hands shaking as I recounted the terrifying encounter. They arrived swiftly, but the man was nowhere to be found. The officers assured me they would increase patrols in the area and urged me to be vigilant. From that night on, the once familiar Walmart became a haunting reminder that danger could lurk even in the most ordinary places. The shadows beneath the fluorescent lights held a chilling memory, a cautionary tale that unfolded in the checkout lanes, where safety almost slipped away into the clutches of a predator. Title: The Night Watch. My night shift at Walmart was never dull. The aisles, usually bustling with customers, now echoed with an eerie silence as I navigated the dimly lit store. As I completed my routine tasks, a sense of unease settled in. The store seemed to hold secrets beneath its fluorescent glow. It was around midnight when the intercom crackled to life, announcing an unexpected visit from the police. Confused but curious, I made my way to the entrance, where two officers stood, their expressions grave. They explained that a series of mysterious incidents had been reported at the store, and they needed my assistance in their investigation. Reluctantly, I joined them, my mind racing with speculation about what could have transpired within the seemingly ordinary aisles of Walmart. The officers guided me toward the security room, where a wall of monitors displayed different sections of the store. Each screen revealed an unsettling sight: shadows moving independently, shelves rearranging themselves, and strange figures lurking in the corners. As the officers scrutinized the footage, I felt a chill run down my spine. It was as if the very essence of the store had come alive with a malevolent force. The police, too, sensed the unnatural atmosphere and exchanged uneasy glances. They decided to patrol the store with me, determined to get to the bottom of the paranormal occurrences. Armed with flashlights, we moved cautiously through the aisles, the only sound our footsteps on the linoleum floor. The air felt heavy with an otherworldly presence. As we neared the electronics section, the officers froze. On the display TVs, distorted faces stared back at us, their eyes glowing an unnatural shade. The police radio crackled with static, drowning out our attempts to communicate. Panic set in as we realized that whatever haunted Walmart was aware of our presence. The officers radioed for backup, their urgency palpable. The supernatural activity escalated. Shopping carts rolled on their own, products flew off shelves, and the temperature dropped unnaturally low. The once familiar store had transformed into a nightmarish realm. Suddenly, a spectral figure materialized before us, its form shifting and distorting. It emitted an otherworldly wail, freezing us in place. The police drew their weapons, but the apparition vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind an unsettling silence. The backup arrived, but the spectral occurrences ceased. The police left with a promise to continue their investigation, but the horror lingered. As I resumed my duties, I couldn't shake the feeling that Walmart held secrets beyond the shelves and registers, secrets that defied explanation and left an indelible mark on those who dared to venture into its haunted aisles. Title: Shattered Reflections. Working at Walmart was a means to an end, a way to pay the bills and move on from the tumultuous past that haunted my memories. Little did I know that the familiar blue and yellow of the megastore would become the backdrop for a nightmarish reunion with an ex-boyfriend. I had tried desperately to forget. It all began innocently enough, the rhythmic beeping of the checkout scanners and the distant chatter of customers forming the familiar soundtrack of my shift. As I stacked shelves with a mind preoccupied by mundane tasks, a shadow from the past emerged. Amidst the fluorescent lights, I caught a glimpse of his face, Jason, my ex-boyfriend. His eyes, once filled with affection, now bore a malevolent glint. Panic set in as I realized he wasn't here for a casual shopping trip. He was here for me. Ignoring him, I continued my duties, hoping he would fade back into the recesses of my past. But he was persistent, appearing in every aisle, his presence like a dark cloud that refused to dissipate. Paranoia took hold, and I felt the weight of his gaze on me, even when I couldn't see him. The unnerving game escalated when my phone buzzed with a message. It was a picture of me at the checkout counter, taken from a distance. The text that accompanied it sent shivers down my spine. "I see you, just like old times." Fear gripped me as I realized Jason was not content with just observing. He reveled in the torment, orchestrating a sinister spectacle within the very aisles I considered my sanctuary. As I hurriedly made my way to the break room, the flickering lights seemed to cast elongated shadows, each one resembling Jason's ominous silhouette. I dialed the police, my voice trembling as I described the disturbing events unfolding at Walmart. They assured me they would send someone to investigate. In the break room, a chilling silence enveloped me. Just when I thought I could breathe a sigh of relief, the door creaked open. Jason stood there, his eyes devoid of sanity, a twisted smile playing on his lips. "You can't escape me," he hissed, and my attempts to barricade the door were futile against his relentless determination. The police arrived just in time, bursting into the break room to find Jason gone. The megastore, once a haven, now felt like a prison of echoes from the past. The officers assured me they would increase patrols around the store, but I couldn't shake the feeling that this nightmare was far from over. As I resumed my duties, the aisles that once provided a sense of normalcy now felt like a labyrinth of memories and shadows. Walmart, once a place of routine, had become the stage for a chilling drama orchestrated by an ex-boyfriend who refused to let go. The scars of the past had resurfaced, leaving me to navigate a terrifying reality within the walls of the megastore. Title: Rejected. I once wore the blue vest of a Walmart employee, navigating the aisles with a routine precision that had become second nature. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, a creeping darkness began to fester within me. A darkness that would eventually stain the familiar aisles crimson. My name is Jake, and I had left Walmart under a cloud of bitterness and resentment. The reasons seemed trivial now, lost in the fog of my deteriorating mental state. Unemployment and rejection were the specters that haunted my nights, whispering sinister promises of retribution. One fateful evening, I returned to the megastore that had once been my workplace. The fluorescent lights flickered above, casting distorted shadows that mirrored the turmoil within my mind. My fingers traced the outline of the weapon concealed beneath my jacket, a sinister companion forged from despair. As I walked through the aisles, memories of my time at Walmart resurfaced, each recollection fueling the ember of rage that burned within me. The mundane beeps of the checkout counters and the hum of the air conditioning seemed to mock my failures. The first shot rang out, shattering the illusion of normalcy that Walmart so carefully maintained. Panic erupted as shoppers fled in terror, their once trusted haven transformed into a nightmarish battleground. I moved methodically through the megastore, a ghost haunting the very aisles where I had once stocked shelves and greeted customers with a hollow smile. Former colleagues, faces etched with disbelief, now cowered behind overturned shopping carts. The authority figures who had dismissed my grievances were now at my mercy. In the aisles, the scent of spilled products mingled with the metallic tang of fear. The police arrived, sirens blaring, their shouts barely audible over the chaos. In that moment, surrounded by flashing lights and the weight of my own actions, remorse clawed at the edges of my consciousness. Walmart, a symbol of routine and consumerism, had become a tragic stage for my descent into madness. As the handcuffs tightened around my wrists, I glimpsed the shattered remnants of a place that had once been my refuge. The megastore, once filled with the mundane bustle of shoppers, now bore the scars of an unimaginable horror. A horror born from the twisted mind of a former employee who had become the embodiment of his own bitterness and despair.